Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much once again for joining me for tea time. Today, we have simply focus. That's it, just focus. It's really, really good. It has that bergamot that I always tell you that I love. It has a little bit of a zing. It's really good in the morning, really good. So, if you want to pick these up, go pick them up over at darkmoonteas.com, or you can head over to my website, JCristina.com. Either which way. Anyways, guys, so today, we're going to try to get into the head of Canon. There was an interview that was done by Cindy, and it was a very, very interesting interview. And it focused on the crippling as well as the overheating and some other top-of-mind questions that a lot of customers and potential customers have, specifically the R5 and the R6. So, Johnny was the interviewer, and he interviewed one of the top executives over there at Canon. His name is Katsuyuki, I believe his name was. Anyways, I'm just going to call him Kat from here in out. But so Johnny over there at Cindy ended up doing an interview with them, and it was really, really fascinating. I want to go through this interview because I think a lot of you will probably not have read it, and if you have, then might want to just listen to some of my commentary on it. But if you haven't, this will kind of give you a little bit of an understanding of where Canon is coming from, as well as their thoughts, the way they perceive what is going on, and the reason they do what they do. And I'll try to, call them out on some of the stuff that they say also, because, every company, their idea of being able to stay in the game is always puffery, and to try to get people to think more of what they're offering than what it really is. Now, is that what's going on here with the R5 and the R6? Well, we'll see. Anyways, let's go ahead and start and jump right into that interview. So Johnny starts out with, the Canon EOS R5 is already shipping, and there is no doubt that the Canon is a technical marvel. What led Canon to introduce this product, and don't you think that introducing such an 8K mirrorless camera is a bit too early? So Kat ends up saying, someone has to be first. That's how he starts out. I love it. And that is absolutely the case. Someone has to be first. He continues by saying, Canon has always been a pioneer in video and still camera development. The EOS 5D Mark II was the first full HD camera at the time when people asked, why would you want to shoot video with a stills camera? We then followed up with the EOS 1DC in 2012, one of the first internally recording 4K cameras, and again, people questioned the need for 4K when most were still moving to 1080p. Someone has to push the boundaries as to what is possible. It's worth noting that new game consoles support 8K, and we're seeing more brands pushing 8K TVs, which will be in the homes of many users in the near future, more so than 4K was back in 2012. 8K has been a goal of Canon for a while, not just for video, but stills also. When we introduced the EOS 5D Mark II, customers who would become what we now know as hybrid shooters had been using separate video and still cameras. They were asking for one product they could use to shoot still and video at the same time. Now, you guys know that I talked about the 5D Mark II, how it was that revolution, and how we went from a photo, let's say, centric camera to a hybrid camera. And that was the beginning of the hybrid shooter. Now, I started out with the 5D. Well, I actually started out way back with 1Ds, and I had a 10D, 20D, 30D, 40D, 7D, 7D Mark II, 5D, 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III. I can give you a whole litany. I've had them all. All right. And the 5D, when the 5D came out, I thought it was amazing. It was really, really a good camera. And right after that, the 5D Mark II came out, and that's when it was like, wow, I ended up picking up two of them. Because why? We were able to shoot video also. Now, bear in mind, there was no autofocus, their dual pixel AF. That didn't exist. You had to pull your focus as you did your video, but you were able to create cinematic video, full frame video, which was amazing using the lenses that you already had. So the EOS 5D Mark II was a revolution. And when I read the specs on the R5, I said, you know what? This is going to be the 5D Mark II all over again. It's going to be a revolution. And what did they do? They ended up coming up with 8K that no one was doing. And just like they're saying here, someone has to be first and someone has to push those boundaries. Sometimes it's not easy, but you have to do it. Now, Johnny continues by asking, when looking at Canon's official online marketing material, both the EOS R5 and EOS R6 were promised to be the ultimate hybrid camera and ultimate content creation tool. Now, looking back, in your opinion, was this promise to the customer fulfilled? We stand by these claims. The EOS R5 and R6 are not dedicated video cameras. They are still camera hybrids. Just like I always say, these are hybrid cameras. Class-leading autofocus, image stabilization, 10-bit recording, and Canon log are game-changing features that make people re-evaluate what a mirrorless camera is. When it comes to video, even if we were to exclude 8K and 4K 60p functions of these cameras, they are still two of the highest specification video enabled still cameras Canon has launched to date and are the ultimate hybrid cameras for today. So basically reiterating what the site said, that these are the ultimate, the top, the pinnacle of what's currently out there. Now, is that true? Is it false? Of course, Sony will say absolutely this is not true, but this is what they're saying. Now, Johnny asks another question saying, both cameras suffer from overheating issues in video recording and more than that, long recover times. By introducing the latest firmware update, it seems that Canon is trying to overcome some of those issues by allowing longer record and shorter recovery wait times. What exactly is causing those cameras to overheat and what's the new firmware doing in order to help? They reply with this. I think we should look at the fundamentals of the whole topic to give a better perspective. The cameras have cutting-edge features squeezed into a compact body designed to offer weather resistance. Sounds familiar, guys. Sounds familiar. This is where we come to the first of two governing factors that affect the cameras when it comes to overheating. Holding a very warm object for an extended period of time has the potential to result in what is known as low temperature burns. The secondary is to protect the internal components of the camera from overheating. We limit how hot the external body of the camera can get to protect the user, which is one of the causes of the overheat shutdown. Some heat management must also be applied to ensure the camera continues to operate. Recording time is controlled by monitoring the temperature inside the camera body and the last usage status information, operating time, basically. With the new firmware, we improve the temperature detection system and update the video recording time control algorithm. The combination of these 2 points enable the system to increase recording time by taking into consideration things like external cooling during filming. So basically what Canon is saying is we're looking at the external heat so that we don't burn our customers, and we're looking at the internal heat so we don't burn up our cameras. And hence, we're going to have to limit the amount of time that we're recording if it gets too hot. That's just simply it. We don't want to hurt the client and we don't want to burn up the camera. So Johnny continues with the next question saying, lots of information can be found on the internet showing how to bypass some of the restrictions Canon originally imposed on the EOS R5 to record long 8K RAW video. Of course, I can understand that you cannot refer to hacks, end quote. So let me ask, is there any danger to the camera or sensor by allowing much longer 8K RAW recording times longer than what Canon currently allows? Good question, right? If we go ahead and hack it and we run it longer, what's going to happen? So Kat responds with, we do not recommend resetting the camera via the removal of the battery during recording or by dismantling the camera. If the internal memory is reset in this way, the camera may become unusable. Temperature control may no longer work correctly, and the camera may overheat more than expected, resulting in the power supply components not operating correctly. Basically, you're going to kill the damn camera, and we're not going to warranty it if you do it. Okay? I'm guaranteeing you that they're going to have some type of fail-safe in there that will indicate how hot those cameras get. And if that amount, that number, let's say their number is 100 degrees, let's just say, I guarantee you there's something in there that writes to the camera, all right, that if the camera gets above 100 degrees, and let's say it gets to 120, 130, 150, and kills itself, when you send it back for repair, they're going to look at it and say, this camera got to 150, but we have fail-safes that only allow it to get to 100. You circumvented the fail-safe. Your warranty is null and void. Sorry, we'll fix it. But these are all the components that you burned out, and we will replace it for X number of dollars. I'm speculating here, guys. Don't get your panties in a bunch, but I would say that it's probably likely that they do stuff like that. All right? So, do I know for sure? No. Anyways, Johnny continues with, to some people, it seems that Canon was trying to protect their professional EOS camera line, that is their C series I always talk about, by restricting recording times. That might have caused some trust issues between potential customers and the company. Is there anything you would like to highlight in order to reassure people that whatever was done was not intentional, but to technically protect the camera? What a stupid question, all right? That's just a stupid question. Anyways, Kat responds with, this is an accusation we've seen before, which belongs in the conspiracy theory pile. It is simply not a sensible business idea, as users are more likely to switch to competitor systems than buy a much more expensive camera to get a certain feature. There are factors that govern what a camera can and cannot do, the primary of which is the components used based on the cost of the camera. Making a camera that can do everything would require higher resolution viewfinders, bigger buffers, faster processors to handle the data, faster card buses to write the cards, etc. All components which typically cost more. He continues with, it is important that we evaluate the primary customer for each product and decide what features would be required by that typical user. We do not cripple our cameras. Our aim is to always focus the product better to the typical user. I love how he uses the word cripple, because that's continuously in the comments that people make. Why are they crippling it? Why do they cripple it? I have always said that. I've always used the word neuter. Why do they neuter their cameras? I just love how he brought this up. Now, what he's saying here is that we find a middle ground for each specific camera, all right? And then make the product for that user. In other words, by putting in the quality of product or the quality of parts to create a good experience for that middle ground or that mean user. There's always going to be outliers on the downside or on the upside. You're going to find outliers on the downside that say, listen, we don't want video at all. Stop giving us damn video. I'm not a hybrid shooter. I just want photo. Take it out. And then we'll have outliers on the top side that will say, hey, we need 8K, 12-bit, C-Law, we need everything, all right? So they create cameras, is what he's saying, that is for that middle ground, for that specific camera base, for that model, which makes sense. But I still believe that they neuter their damn cameras and they cripple them because of their C-series, okay? That's my opinion. No matter what he's saying here, I don't believe it. I believe some of it. I do believe that they make the camera for that mean person, not for the ones that are those outliers on either side. I do believe they make a camera for that middle ground. But I do also believe that they continuously have to figure out how not to hurt their C line. All right. Their C series is so important for the professional base, and they make a lot of money with the C series. It would be just stupid for them to come up with a camera that's $2,000, $3,000 that's going to step on the heels of a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 machine. It just wouldn't make sense, right? Just wouldn't make sense. Anyways, I thought that he answered it well. But do I believe all of it? No, absolutely not. Anyways, Johnny continues with, at the end of the day, what should we expect from the EOS R5 and R6 cameras? Will you improve recording time in the future and keep the same video quality? Or are we approaching the end of improvements and those two cameras will continue to be restricted as they are today? Kat answers by saying, we plan to keep enhancing these products, but as explained in my previous answer, there are limitations that cannot simply be overcome via a firmware update. No crap. I said this, right? You guys remember. Before this camera or these cameras came out, when we got all of the rumors of the specs, I said, listen, if these specs are correct, these things are going to nuke themselves and they're literally going to melt because these are closed cameras. They do not have an inlet and an outlet, a means of exhaust and a means of bringing cool air in with a fan. They will not have that. Unless they have that, these things are going to combust. There's no way for them to be able to do it. And I also said that, yes, they'll be able to kind of tweak things after the fact via firmware, but there's only so much that they can tweak. You can't change physics, right? You can't change the camera body. It's just it. It is what it is. You cannot fix that. So, yes, they can go ahead and alter the algorithm that decides when to turn the camera off or how long they can record, but that's all that they can do. It's basically putting a Band-Aid on it, making believe they changed something, but in actuality only allowed more heat to reside in the camera before shutting off. That is it. That's all that they have done here. All right? Don't get anything twisted. They're doing nothing else. The algorithm is simply just allowing more heat to be able to be produced in the camera before it shuts off. That is it. It's not somehow magically producing less heat. It's just not happening. All right. You record 8K raw 10-bit and you do it high speed and pummel a card with it and have all of this processing going on. You're talking about a ton of heat. That is it. And these, like I said, are closed systems. They have to be to remain, let's say, weather sealed, weather tight. Okay. You're not going to take a C series onto the beach. All right. If you do, the C series is going to suck in that salt air and your C series camera, C100, 200, 300, 500, whatever, will be a piece of crap in a moment. All right. It will just eat it up. Salt in Florida, salt on any island, let's say. We're kind of a peninsula. Let's call it an island. Eats everything away. Salt kills everything. Okay. So that's why you have these cameras that are weather sealed. So you don't end up with these type of problems. All right. So in my view, was this interview of interest? Yes. Did they answer some of the things? Yes, they did. But I do believe that the Canon EOS R5 is a revolution. It is that 5D Mark II all over again, where it makes all the other manufacturers stand up, take notice and say, you know what, we need to get there and we need to do it better than what Canon is doing it. How can we do it? And I'm telling you, as sure as I'm sitting here, Sony is thinking right now, how do we get an 8K camera out there? All right. And do it better than Canon with less heat. How do we do it? All right. And Sony's cameras are usually smaller than Canon. So what does that mean? More heat, less room for dissipation. So they're going to have to come up with something else, some other means, some other method, because they're not going to put a fan in it. Period. You break the seal. People are not going to want it. All right. So that all being said, I hope you enjoyed this. I thought it was a very good conversation back and forth with the guys over there at Cindy. I think it was really cool. I like And I really respect that Canon came forward with a response to all this, because we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been talking about the crippling that goes on, or as I call the neutering. We've been talking about this overheating issue and how the thing is just going to like blow up and burn out, and what can they do about it. We talked about the firmware on this vlog also, and my thoughts on it. So to kind of put it all into a like tidy bow and allow them to actually answer and to respond. Like I said, do I believe everything? It's, it is what it is. Remember, like I always say, manufacturers, people that create a product, there has to be some type or some amount of puffery that goes on to inflate what their system can and cannot do. So can it do everything that they state? Well, kind of yes. But when it does do it, all right, there is going to be sacrifices that are made. And the sacrifice is simply record time. That is it. The thing is going to get hot, and that is basically it. End of frickin' story. If you need a camera to record longer than what the R5 can, you're going to need to go into like a C series if you want to stick with Canon brand. Okay, that's just it. Or a video camera proper, not a hybrid camera. That is just it. So my personal opinion is, if you need more than what the R5 is currently producing, or the R6, okay, wait for the R5 or the R6 Mark II, because they're going to change stuff in it. And that stuff that they change is going to have a lot to do with heat. Some type of heat dissipation is going to end up showing up. I guarantee you, as I sit here today, remember what I'm telling you. When the new Mark IIs come out, years from now, whatever, you're going to see there's going to be a means of dissipating the heat without breaking the seal. We see Apple has figured it out. They are waterproof, let's call it, okay? They got rid of that audio jack and some other things to make it quote unquote waterproof, all right? There's ways of doing it, and I think that all camera manufacturers are going to have to figure it out. And as of right now, like I said, Sony is working hard on doing this, because they hate that Canon came out with 8K and they didn't, right? They hate it. They don't want to see that. They do not want to see that. And I can understand it. So anyways, guys, I hope you got something out of this. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great to be able to take a look at this and see what's kind of real, what's not, what's what. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think that it was a whole bunch of nonsense? Do you think that they answered the questions kind of well? What do you think about Canon's EOS R5 and R6? Are these cameras that you're looking at, or are you going to wait until the Mark IIs of these come out where there is some other revisions? Do you think that these cameras are good enough for what you're doing? All right. What do you think? Anyways, guys, if you haven't downloaded my ebook as of yet, what the heck are you doing? Head over to JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. Go grab it. 10 tips of making tack sharp images. Something there for amateurs, pro-ams, professionals. You'll find something in there that's of value. I guarantee it. Anyways, it's free. All right, go grab it. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe to the channel so you can get all of my content. Throw this video a big thumbs up if you just got a little bit out of it, just a little bit. All right, please throw it a big thumbs up. That will be extremely helpful so that the YouTube gods look kindly upon the video and myself and say, hey, this is something that other people should watch. That would be awesome. Also, if you're already subscribed, don't forget to click this little bell over here. That little bell icon means that you will get notification as soon as I go live or when there's a new video that comes out. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be awesome. That's it. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.